All right, guys, let's talk about what's really going on with the San Francisco 49ers right now. Because honestly, things are getting pretty wild. Between roster moves, practice squad changes, Chase Young's situation, and the overall vibe in that locker room, something's brewing. And I think we're starting to see which direction this team is really heading. First off, the 49ers just made some roster moves that tell you exactly where their heads are at. They signed linebacker Curtis Robinson and wide receiver Anthony Miller to the practice squad. Yeah, that Anthony Miller, the former second-round pick from the Bears. A guy with real talent who just hasn't quite found the right system. But what's interesting here is what these moves mean. The 49ers are clearly looking for depth, especially with all the injuries piling up lately. You can see them trying to stabilize this roster, especially after that frustrating, ugly loss to the Rams. Man, that one hurt. You could feel the tension after that game. The team looked flat, the energy was off, and fans everywhere were like, "What's happening to this team?" Let's be real, this is not the same 49ers team that came out of the gate hot early in the season. Something shifted. You can tell from how Kyle Shanahan is managing the roster and how the players are responding. Now, the Curtis Robinson move, that's all about shoring up the linebacker unit. The 49ers love having athletic, smart linebackers who can cover sideline to sideline, and Robinson fits that mold. He knows the system, he's been around the team before, so this isn't a random ad. It's a "we need insurance" move. But the Anthony Miller signing? That's where it gets interesting. The Niners don't usually make WR moves unless there's a reason. Debo's been banged up, Juwan Jennings has been dealing with some nagging stuff, and the depth behind Ayuk isn't looking as strong as it used to. So bringing in a veteran like Miller might just be a way to get another route runner in the mix in case injuries hit again, or even to light a fire under the bottom of that depth chart. Because let's be honest, after that Rams game, the 49ers offense looked stale. The rhythm wasn't there, Purdy looked uncomfortable, and the play calling just felt predictable. You could sense the frustration from Shanahan, from the players, and from the fans. And speaking of frustration, let's talk about Chase Young. Man, it's been rough. Remember the hype when the Niners traded for him? Everyone thought we were getting the Ohio State version of Chase Young, the guy who wrecked games, who lived in the backfield. But that hasn't been the case. He's struggled, and not just statistically. The motor isn't there. The energy isn't there. You watch the tape, and you see a guy who just isn't giving that same relentless effort you expect from a defensive end in this system, and that's a problem. There have been whispers that the team's not happy with his consistency, and honestly, watching the Rams game, it showed. The defense wasn't flying around the way they used to. The pass rush wasn't creating havoc. And without that identity, this defense loses its soul. Chase Young's effort is part of that story, but it's not the whole thing. This team as a whole just looks tired. You can sense the mental fatigue, like they're pressing too hard or trying to live up to expectations instead of just playing free football. And that leads us to the bigger picture. Because this isn't just about one player or one bad game. It's about where this team's at mentally right now. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have built something incredible here. Let's give them credit. The roster's stacked, the culture's strong, and the standard is high. But that's also a double-edged sword. When you're expected to win every year and you come up short, that pressure builds. You could see it on the sidelines against the Rams. The body language wasn't good, players were frustrated, there wasn't that same spark. And then you hear Puka Nakua's comments after the game, saying the Rams knew they could attack certain matchups, that they knew where the weak spots were. That's not something you want to hear as a Niners fan, because it means teams are figuring us out. Now, let's talk about the locker room and leadership. Fred Warner's still doing everything he can to hold this defense together. The guy plays with pure heart. You can never question that. Dre Greenlaw, when healthy, brings that fire too. But outside of those guys, where's the edge? Where's the killer instinct that made this defense feared? Nick Bosa's been solid, but not the same game wrecker we saw in his DPOY season. He's getting double-teamed a ton, yeah, but the elite guys still find ways to make plays. And when your other edge rusher isn't producing, that makes it worse. Chase Young was supposed to help take pressure off Bosa. Instead, it feels like Bosa's carrying the load again. The D-line rotation used to be the heartbeat of this team. Now it feels ordinary, and that's not what this team was built to be. Let's go back to the offensive side for a second, because I know a lot of people are wondering, where's the creativity? Where's the rhythm? Where's that Kyle Shanahan magic that used to make defenses look silly? Part of the issue is execution. Brock Purdy's missed a few throws lately that he normally hits. But another part is just the overall energy. You don't see the same swagger. When this team's at its best, it's confident, physical, and calculated. Right now, it's cautious and frustrated. And listen, I'm not giving up on Purdy. I still believe in the kid. He's smart, he's tough, and he's earned his spot. But he needs help. The O-line has to protect better. The play calling has to loosen up. You can't just expect him to play hero ball every week. So what do these roster moves really tell us? Signing depth guys, shuffling the practice squad, it's about trying to keep the machine running. The front office knows this team's in a tough stretch. They're trying to plug holes and buy time until the stars can get healthy and the chemistry clicks again. But here's the hard truth. Depth moves only go so far. At some point, your stars have to play like stars again. That's how this team wins. When Debo, Kittle, CMC, Ayuk, Bosa, and Warner are all locked in, this team is unbeatable. But when that edge slips, when the fight isn't there, everything looks average. And man, that's just frustrating to watch as a fan. Because you know how good this team can be. You've seen it. You've seen them dominate elite teams, silence stadiums, and impose their will. So when they look like this, it's hard not to feel like something deeper is going on. I'll say this, though. I still believe in Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, he's got flaws. Sometimes he gets too conservative, too predictable. But he's also one of the best play designers in the league. He's been through tough stretches before, and every time he's found a way to get this team back on track. The 49ers have the talent to bounce back. That's not the question. The question is whether they'll mentally bounce back, whether they can find that fire again. Because talent isn't enough. We've seen that in past seasons. You need hunger, you need leadership, you need that chip on your shoulder. And that's what this team has to rediscover. Let's wrap this up with some perspective. The 49ers are still one of the most complete teams in football. They've got an elite defense when it's clicking, a dangerous offense when it's in rhythm, and a head coach who knows how to scheme anyone open. But right now, it's about accountability. It's about looking in the mirror and saying, are we really playing 49ers football? These roster moves, Robinson, Miller, and whoever else comes next, they're small pieces. But they represent something bigger. They show a team that's trying to adjust on the fly to keep things together before it's too late. So yeah, the Chase Young situation is disappointing. Yeah, the energy's off. But the season's not over. There's time to fix this. If the leaders step up, if the play calling gets aggressive again, and if everyone starts playing like their season depends on it. Because honestly, it does. If this team wants to get back to the Super Bowl, they can't keep sleepwalking through games. They've got to bring the fire back. Every snap, every drive, every quarter. That's the standard. That's 49ers football. And that's where we're at right now. The 49ers have the talent, the coaching, and the leadership to turn this thing around. But they've got to want it. No more flat starts. No more playing down to competition. It's time to remind everyone why this team's been one of the most feared in the league for years. So, Faithful, what do you think? Are these roster moves a sign of deeper problems or just a smart adjustment from the front office? Do you think Chase Young's still got time to redeem himself, or is it time to move on? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because this team's story isn't done yet. There's still a lot of football left, and I've got a feeling things are about to get real interesting in San Francisco. If you love this kind of 49ers talk, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. We're keeping it real here every single week, breaking down the truth about our team. Win or lose, we ride together, because that's what being part of the faithful is all about.